Okay, we're going to bring in a shapefile. Oops, I clicked open instead of insert. That was a mistake. Now I want to go back to this one here. No, that's not it. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is a RoadLogger file I'm going to open. In my samples folder here, I've got one that's got all the road line work from the Chilliwack Forest District. There we go. And I opened that up in terrain and counted, and there's something like 4,000 roads in there or something. So that's quite a large amount of data. It's also, I didn't write down the numbers, but it was a lot of points, 300,000 points, something like that. It's a large map, and has no problem putting that on the laptop, showing it. And if I click on one of these things, like what road is that one there? First of all, I can see some flyby information, tooltip information about my coordinate, the name of the road, and the distance along the road. And then when I clicked on it, it turned pink to highlight it, and it popped it open here. That's the one right there. So now if I create a new event, I can change the road ID if I want, but it's picked up the one that was current. And I can choose the event type. Now, they've just got these 13, 14 events. Let's put in one that's got some distance. For example, I'll put in a generic one, features linear. So this type of event or record has a start and an end. Now if I've got a GPS system on here, then this area here would be populated. There would be coordinates in here. And if I'm driving along the road, I can click this refresh button and it will update the coordinates in that box. Of course I don't have GPS hooked up, so I gotta wave my hands and pretend. But you don't always have GPS. You know, you're in a deep valley, bad coverage, under a canopy, it's raining. No problem. I just look at my odometer and type in the mileage in meters. And I can also use reference points to make it a little easier to use. I might have passed a bridge, reset my odometer, and I can just say that bridge is a reference point and type in the odometer reading and figure out where that bridge is later. Or I maybe figured it out at the time, doesn't matter. So I can actually create these things called reference points if I don't want to use the start of the vector. Okay? And I've just created that record. Notice that on the left-hand side here, this is all highlighted in red. That's because that record is incomplete, and it's showing the incomplete one down on the bottom here. It's incomplete for a couple of reasons, mostly because I haven't put in the end coordinate. There's the start. There's the measure. But I haven't put in the end information. I can do that two ways. I can type it in here, or I can just click on end event. One of the things that's kind of cool is you can actually pick up coordinates from your map. Again, if I didn't have a GPS unit, I could just sort of click on there, say give me the position information. Now this is always available. It's telling me the lat long coordinate in degrees. It's also telling me the Albert's coordinate and the road name, the road section. It's a two-level hierarchy for roads. Where I am, which is 6,000 meters on a 25-kilometer road, and I'm actually 25 meters off where I clicked. Sometimes it's nice just to copy and paste coordinates, so we built that in there. There's the coordinate. So even though I'm entering this as a coordinate, when I say OK, it immediately gives me there's my lat long coordinate. It also gives me a end measure. There it is, 6491. Now the data is actually stored, it looks like both numbers are just in there, but it's actually stored in a fairly smart way. If you pick up a GPS coordinate, it stores the GPS NEMA information with the record. And it stores the measure, and it sets a flag that says this came from GPS. If you type in a measure, it will extract the lat long from the vector that you're using, but it tags it as saying this was typed in as a measure. This lat long was not from the GPS unit. So when you import that data later to your main database, you can see whether the information is a GPS coordinate, which you might use to fix your dirty data, or if it's just a measure that is using the data that you've got, dirty or not. I've got a little bit of data that's already entered. Yeah, by the way, this is still showing me as being red, and that means I'm missing a required field. Aha! These ones are bold. They're telling me I have to set something there. So I click in there, and I've got to pick one of these classes. So I can't type in any old thing. I have to choose what this is. This is a fence. And click in there, and I can say, okay, it's an electric fence. That's nice. And any other bold items here? I got my start, I got my end.
It's all happy now.
It's all happy now, and the red disappeared. And you got these great navigation tools. If the GPS were on here, I could click on a button here that would just make that visible. Just slide this over a little bit. I could click on a button here that would scroll the map view to show the GPS point if it wasn't visible. I can also, as I've shown you, click on any road to make it the current, and it pops it open on the left-hand side. And similarly, I can click on any one of these things, and it centers it on the screen and highlights it. Now that one happens to be very, very short, but there it is. And if I hover over that, it tells me that I'm sitting at that coordinate. That's the name of the road, and I'm at 76 meters along. It's not much bigger than a couple hundred meters. So it's easy to use in a truck. It's very straightforward. There's not a lot of things you can do with it aside from find things and enter well-defined records in the field with good data integrity. You can't put in bad records unless, of course, you type something nonsensical in a text field. You can also control which items are displayed. Here's one where I stole a little image from Google Earth and stuck it in an image file using our terrain module, georeferenced it. But if you got georeferenced air photos, you can display them in here, and you can see the roadways lying on top there. And if I click on one of these events, it becomes the current event. And I can choose which columns are displayed. So if I'm going out and doing something that only requires a subset of the fields in a record, I can just narrow it down to that subset, so I'm not constantly scrolling across the screen. There's arrow keys to move around, so if I click in this one here, I can go use the control down arrow to move around, which is sometimes easier than using the mouse if you're in a truck, or even worse, these little finger pads. So it's designed to work easily and designed to help you not get lost. I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. Earl, have I forgotten anything important?
Well, from there you can export to the firma format in front of me.
Yeah.
Softree for upload.
Oh, yeah. You can also. One of the things I didn't mention is that the GPS unit will build a track if you have tracking turned on, and that track is just it's just a list of NEMA format GPS information. So that can be exported as a file, but export to CSV, that's how